Very nice to see all of you this fine year, and it's starting off as a pretty good year, I think. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year. Same to you.
And before we get started, let's open as we always do. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
You may be seated. Ushers, please pass the plates.
We'll charge it.
Seriously, it's good to see all of you, and thank you so much for coming out tonight. I have a few remarks I want to make before we get going on the debate. This is the Martyr Kinzinger debate. And while there are chuckles and smiles, I want to impress upon you, this is a serious debate. I will explain as we go along. But the first thing I want to do is talk about the missing man. He's a member of the Air Force Reserve at this point. And at this point, he is flying in the missing man formation. I think that's all rather obvious. Show of hands. Who has seen him in person the past year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A couple of them are county chairmen, so they don't count. That brings us down to 4. How many people have tried to contact him in the past year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Were you successful? Show of hands. Who was successful? Yeah, mine's down too. For those of you that haven't tried, about the only way you can contact him is to go to his government website and hit contact. And you get this drop-down screen to send him an email. Those of you that have tried and failed on it will understand what I say. There are a series of boxes that must be filled out. If they're not filled out, your message will not get sent. And it occurred to me that if your phone number is a requisite to send the email, what do you do if you're deaf? And I'm not joking about that. I mean, I have some deaf relatives. They couldn't send an email to them. What do you do if you don't know your full 10-digit zip code? You have to find out what the last 4 digits of the 10 are. How many here know their entire 10-digit zip code? Really? Wow. That blows me away. It really does. I had to look mine up because we never use the last 4 digits. And the mail we get doesn't have it on there. Once in a while, maybe that's usually junk mail that we don't even look at. We just discard it. The point is, I do believe the gentleman has gone to pains to make it very, very difficult to contact him. How many have made a call to his office? Did you get any answers? Show of hands. If you got answers. Martha, you got an answer?
Hello.
No, that's an answer to your question.
No.
I always get an answer. I always get an answer if I contact him.
You do?
Yeah.
How often do you contact him?
I'll have a dozen times a year.
Really?
He usually replies that he will keep my thoughts in mind when he's voting. Something of that order.
Is that over the phone?
Yeah, all written response. Yeah.
All written response?
Yeah. It's email, so he responds to us.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's something automatic
Yeah.
they spell out,
Right.
I'm not sure.
Once again, he's almost impossible to contact. Does he care about his constituents? I'm one. I don't think so. Show of hands. Who thinks he cares about his constituents?
Oh, primary and election day.
Yeah.
He's on TV
Okay.
a lot lately. Yeah.
Primary election day. That's a good answer from the surrogate.
Contributors.
Okay. This man truly is innocent in action. When you see him on TV, it's usually on CNN, occasionally on Fox, right? You ever see any of the Republicans with him? I don't. I happen to know why some of them aren't there, being shown with him. They can't stand him. I found this out some years ago, talking to a very staunch conservative Republican congressman from Texas. He can't stand him. He thinks he's akin to a traitor. And I'm sure others do. You never see him with anybody else. When they have the groups of the Republicans that, yeah, we passed a bill. Woo-hoo. Do you ever see Kinzinger in there? No, you don't. He is truly a missing man who cares little about you or me or anyone else. Earlier this month, I would guess that many of you received this flyer from me in the mail. I've seen some heads shaking yes.
Yeah.
What's interesting is he's introduced some bills, but how many has he ever authored? He's been there for 6 years now, heading on 8 years, I guess. How many pieces of legislation has he authored? I know of none.
None.
What's telling about this was the time this came out a couple weeks ago, earlier this month, so that it's used as a campaign thing, because we're in the midst of a campaign. There could be no other assumption made on it. Now, he's got probably close to $2 million in his campaign fund by now, right around in that area. Did he pay for it? No. We did. In fine print, right here on the front, it says, this mailing was prepared, published, and mailed at taxpayer expense. And what that points out is something that I've taken to saying lately, because it's absolutely true. The power of incumbency to keep an incumbent cannot be overestimated. If the incumbent says something to the media, it's all over the news. If James says something to the media, it's what are you bothering us for? Really? Like I say, the power of incumbency to keep an incumbent is, it cannot possibly be overestimated. And that's one of the reasons why I have spoken out loudly and strongly for a period of time about the GOP, especially the IL GOP. We're going into a primary. What is a primary for? It is for the candidates to make their case to the voters. And then for the voters to vote and come up with a choice of who they want to represent them. And only then should the party, whichever party it is, only then should the party ever step in and say, that's our guy, or that's our lady. That's who we're backing. in the general election.
people's choice.
It's for the voters to make the choice, not for the party to do so. If the party's going to say, hey, there's our guy going into the primary, not waiting for the vote, why have a primary? What sense does that make? This guy has it down to a T. He does nothing. He interviews on CNN quite often. I mean, for a job. I really think he's trying to get them to make him an offer.
Probably.
He does, to the best of my knowledge, and I could be wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, he has never authored any legislation. Oh yeah, he supported legislation. He's introduced legislation along with some other Republicans, but I don't think he's ever authored any. Does he stay in touch with his constituents? No. He does not care about us, folks.
Wait,
And that's just the way that
you
it
got
is.
the mailer. That's proof of love. He sent you something.
I've got some love for you, pal. Okay. Done with that. On each table, I put down, here it is. Volunteers needed. Have you all read this?
Where's it at?
You can grab it from Jim and read it. And what it says, I'll read it out loud. Volunteers needed. Have you seen this person? Have you heard anything about his whereabouts? We're in desperate need of volunteers to form search parties for him. We believe all life is important, even liberal turncoat life. He's rumored to be in Washington, D.C., but CNN denies knowing his current location. His constituents hear nothing from him. His offices are unable to communicate his whereabouts, when he might surface, when they last spoke with him, or his views on important issues. He often votes with Democrats. He's not in any of the Republican groups regularly shown on TV. He's never mentioned by Republican colleagues. His checks are still being cashed, but again, no one can tell us where he is, if he'll ever be in district, where he might appear, or even if he's capable and competent. This is a serious matter, as it seems our congressional district is without representation. Since he's apparently deserted us, but still takes our money, please help in getting a true conservative who will actually represent us elected. And attached to that is this picture. I don't know where this picture was taken, but it must be in district. And what does it say here? It's got a picture of the missing man. And it says, missing. Have you seen absentee Adam? It's not just here that this is being noticed. It's being noticed all across the district.
Good.
Somebody say good. Who said that?
I did.
I'm with you. Exactly right.
We're with you.
The other thing is, and if you don't have one, we have them over at the table. Another
Right.
two-part. The top here, I put this out in the email to everyone on the email list, but this is a copy of the invitation that was sent to Adam earlier this month. In this, I told him, and I will quote, in the event you choose not to attend and personally represent your views on specific topics or provide a personally authorized surrogate, we will assign a surrogate for you whose responses will be based upon your answers and statements from the fairly recent past. This will ensure you are at least represented. We look forward to a positive response from you. Please respond by replying to this email or calling the number below. Let me tell you what I heard from him. Deafening, isn't it? No response. Zip, zilch, nada. I saw him in September, I think it was, at the Morris Corn Fest. I talked to him. I said, you know, your constituents would really like to see you. Message received. That's what we have for a congressman these days. So there is someone who holds high ethical standards, who has done a lot in his life, is married, has raised children, is a business success, knows what the private sector is about. And let me explain something there. Missing man is very akin to Chuck Schumer.
Oh, Lord.
Both graduated college. No, I'll take that back. Schumer graduated college at Harvard, went through Harvard Law School. As he came out of law school, he entered into politics. Any private sector job that he may have held, he's never practiced law. Any private sector job that he may have held would have been as a teenager. A lot of responsibility there. Adam became elected to the county board at about age 19 or 20. 9/11 hit, and to his credit, he joined up with the Air Force. And he deserves credit for that. But that also means that he received his college education from taxpayer money. He served in the military. That's fine, like I say, due credit given there. But from the military, he went right into politics. Has he ever held a private sector job? I've searched. I could find no record of one. I don't know of anyone who can. So can he understand what the private sector is about?
No.
I think it's rather doubtful. Having gone on with this diatribe long enough, I want to introduce two gentlemen here. The first is James Martyr. James? James is running to be the representative in Congress for the 16th Congressional District. And I sure hope he gets it. But it's up to us, folks, and others like us. That's what has to happen. Remember, the power of the incumbency cannot be overestimated. Somebody like Jim needs a lot of grassroots support because he will get none from the party. The party will actively work against him, just as they will against Jeannie Ives. Okay,